Hello. And today we were playing By Your Hands. We're about to start day 6 for Brendan. I set my computer mouse to check the time on the screen. It was already pretty late in the morning. I finally had an excuse to change out of my sleep clothes. Weekends at the lab were usually pretty uneventful. There weren't really any tests to run, no appointments with Dr. Tanya or any of the other researchers, nothing. I'd rather stay in my room and take the time for recreation and walk the lab grounds for a while. Remember when I was little and kind of was still around, those were our days to hang out with Camille. For the past few years, it was either just me and the crocodile or me by myself. I was hope being allowed to start college would offer an opportunity to shake things up, and my hopes had been answered with Brendan's text. So I hopped up from my desk chair to change clothes, paused to the bathroom to freshen myself up a little, gathered some of my books and binders, put them into my bag, and made my way downstairs. Dr. Abraham was sitting on the couch in the living room, thumbing through a few reports. Technically, it was his day off, but that usually just meant he would work from home instead of in the main labs. Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen him on something or other. The Agana grunted when I passed by, keeping his eyes locked onto the pages in his hand, and gave him a greeting in return. Just when I was about to head out the door, he cleared his throat. He must have caught sight of my bag slung over my shoulder. When he heard that I was going out to study with a friend from school, however, he praised my remarkable efforts to improve my socialization skills and build a network of acquaintances. I wasn't sure how happy he would be if I knew the identity of that acquaintance I was meeting, but as Connor had always liked to say, what he didn't know wouldn't hurt him. As soon as I stepped out of the house, I sent off a text to Brendan. Then I spent the next 15 minutes taking a walk along the streets and sidewalks of the lab complex. When I finally ambled through the entrance gate, the Bison's car was already idling a few spaces away. And hello. Hey. The CD player was already filling the car with a soft, mellow melody when I climbed into the passenger seat. While searching for my seatbelt, I noticed that the back windows were rolled down, letting in some of the fresh air from outside. So you got everything you need? With a nod and a smile, I patted the bag settled on my lap. Yep, it even brought my textbook along. I actually had a couple questions about the sushi tribes, if you don't mind going over them. Not at all. But I can't hold your hand too awfully much, and can at least put you on the right track. So then, away we go. And away we went. It wouldn't be a very long car ride, apparently, as it turned out Brendan lived on one of the streets a short ways away from the university. Close enough to walk, but having to pick up Cameron from school and run errands during the week didn't really make that feasible. As the Bison drove, I thought up ways to pass the time. I figured it would be good to know for the next time I saw the younger Bison, and Brendan was more than happy to oblige. As soon as I mentioned his son, his face lit up and the floodgates opened. He told me about Cameron getting straight A's in all his classes, how he won first place in the science fair the year before, how the two of them had gone camping in Ellis Range National Park for the younger Bison's 12th birthday. There was so much pride in his voice. It was honestly pretty nice to hear. Rex, you alright? Oh, yeah, I'm fine. Hopefully my smile didn't look too forced. Sounds like things are really good between you two. Well, it's not like It's all sunshine, rainbows, of course. There are some ups and downs sometimes, but that's the case with all families, right? Oh, right. Oh, the bison cleared his throat and looked over at me, and pausing in his eyes, I just gave him another reassuring smile in return, a little more genuine this time. I've been nodding along to the steady rhythm of the guitar for a while at that point, and had finally gotten used to it being interrupted at regular intervals by heavier noisy segments. Electric guitar, Brendan called it, a pretty common instrument in heavy metal. Never would have guessed you'd be into something like this. Why? Because I'm a boring old history professor? You're the one who put it like that, not me. I spoke. He rolled his eyes and laughed. This work was popular way back when I was young. Used to listen to this album all the time when it first came out. Cool. Songs between us. I could hear the bison humming along while he kept his eyes on the road. And when the chorus repeated, I made my best attempt at doing the same. These lyrics are kind of sad. Aren't they? Maybe a little. Yeah. Never really bothered me. Back when I was a kid, I just really liked the tune. You know what they say? When you're young, you enjoy the music, but when you get older, you actually understand the lyrics. Just little glances, at least, at first. I had a feeling he wouldn't mind, but there was honestly a little thrill in being sneaky about it. Keeping my face pointed forward when peering at him out of the corner of my eye, acting like I was looking at the clock on the radio, or like something out of the driver's side window that caught my attention. Moving slowly, keeping my breathing steady, doing my best not to to not let the bison notice what I was doing. Not having a tie on made the way his chest strained the buttons of his shirt all the more apparent, and those sorts of his left even less of the imagination than the usual khakis. My eyes traced over the thick, fur-covered slabs of his thighs, appreciating how they framed the fat folds of his crotch. Is there something I can help you with? Well, so much for being sneaky. Mars darted up to meet the bison's gaze. Apparently the stoplight was taking a little while to chase. He had turned to look over at me, a dark blush under the fur of his snout and his flicking ears. Sorry. I was just, you look good. A quiet, shaky laugh as his ears continued to flutter. Likewise. Hung from behind made the bison jerk upright in his seat. The light had finally turned green. I mean, he was taking me over to his house after all, and he did say that Kevin would be out with some friends, so it would just be us all day. I mean, he also said that he couldn't push things too far with one another. He was my professor mentor. I was a student. But surely there wasn't any problem with letting my thoughts go in that direction just a little bit, right? The two of us sitting on the bison's couch, my leg resting on his bare thigh, my shoulder resting against his firm, comforting bulk. Breathing is his scent, maybe directly from the source. Touching and grubbing, maybe even kissing one another. My eyes snapped open at the sound. He exploded across my snout. Even with the window open, the smell of my arousal was hanging in the air. It looked like Brendan had noticed it too, along with how tight my pants had suddenly become. Sit on your mind, Rex? Yeah, you. I see. Somehow the tension sparking between the two of us was more exhilarating than even my dirtiest thoughts had been. directing my gaze forward out the windowsill, then turned to look out the passenger side window, watching the world pass by outside. It was nice, honestly, just to sit in comfortable silence with Brendan for a while. So he spent moments like that together over the course of the week, but today was Saturday. There were no classes hanging over our heads, keeping us watching the clock for when we had to cut our time together so I could enjoy the Bison's presence next to me as much as I wanted. Hopefully he was doing the same. At least we arrived. The Bison's neighborhood looked pretty similar to the complex's residential area. Neat rows of houses along the sidewalk-lined street. I guess the familiarity was sort of comforting, but at the same time there were so many differences to notice when I grabbed my bag and climbing out of the car. Trees, shrubs, and flower gardens adding splashes of color all over. Variations in the looks of the houses rather than bland conformity all the way down the road. A distinct lack of sterile white walls surrounding the place. Rex? You're coming? Oh, yeah. I placed a smile onto my face as I moved to join the Bison. Brendan's house looked pretty small, just one floor, but I guess it made sense if it was just him and Cameron. A short walkway led from the driveway where he parked to the tiny front porch. I took a look at the slightly overgrown lawn while the Bison unlocked the door and then followed him inside. Well, here we are. Go ahead and make yourself at home. Would you like anything, a drink or a snack or anything? Question caught me a little off guard. I sipped it from foot to foot, brow furrowing and lips pursing in thought. I appreciate it, but do you have anything, anything? Oh, right, carnivore. He let out a small, shaky laugh. It's been a while since I've had anyone over, so I just wanted to, offer. I could look into getting a few things for next time. If there is a next time, of course. Alright. I couldn't help blushing a little, both at the offer and the consideration of him wanting me to come over more often. Is that something you'd be alright with? Oh, of course. Like I said before, I've had plenty of carnivore friends over the years. Used to keep some snacks they could eat aside from whenever they visit, but again, it's been a while. I see. In that case, maybe some water? Sure, come right up. Brendan nodded, gave me a grunt and thumbs up, then trotted off through the doorway into what I assumed was the kitchen. As I moved outside, the blanket, which was folded up and slung over the back of the couch, I took a seat. Set my bag down next to me, letting it rest against the end table. Got myself comfortable, made myself at home, as the Bison had said. Brendan returned a few moments later to hand me a tall glass of water. Then he sat down next to me, his bulk resting atop the small pillow nestled in one corner of the couch. So then, you said you had a few questions about what we've been covering in class. A few, yeah. I mean, it's mostly just details, but I'm glad to see the topic has ignited your curiosity. That was one way to put it. In that case, how about a little studying session? If there's anything you'd like to know more about, I'll be right here to help out. Though not too much, right? Right, I can just give you the answers. Right, I can't just give you the answers. But as a professor and your mentor, I can offer you any guidance you might need. Thanks, Brendan. I really appreciate it. He ducked his head and flipped his ears, a small smile lingering at the corners of his lips. Of course, Rex. So, shall we begin? If you like, we can get your studying out of the way now, and then have the rest of the day to just hang out together. That sounds like a plan. I reached down to pull my textbook out of my bag, and we got to it. There was plenty of information about the Tsuchiya tribes available. They were the first and oldest group of predators to organize with one another beyond family units, after all. Some historians even believe them to be one of the closest surviving descendants of the dinosaurs. Back in those times when animals were first starting to develop sapience, the world was ruled by survival of the fittest, and that was the Tsuchiyas. They spread into farthest, claiming the most territory. They developed many of the best hunting strategies, which continued to be used and refined throughout the centuries. As a matter of fact, there were records indicating that the expansionism is what drove many other predator tribes to advance as well, through competition with conquest. I knew my interest probably came off as morbid to the bison, but when I asked about it, he just waved my concern away with a laugh and a small smile. Please don't worry about it, Rex. You don't have to apologize for your curiosity. It's good to know. It's good to want to know more. And besides, history isn't all sunshine and rainbows, you know? There are plenty of unpleasant things to be found in the past, even the recent past, let alone hundreds of thousands of years ago. What's important is to learn from and about them so we can avoid repeating the mistakes of our ancestors. Right. I see that he was excited to help me learn, and I appreciated that he take the time to answer my questions and help me understand. It was nice to have that for once, but at the same time it was a little bit different for me. When I was interested in history for history's sake, learning about the past to understand the present and all that. As conceited as it might be to say, he didn't have any real stake in it. But I didn't just want to look at the big chain or cause and effect, as he called it. I wanted to understand why things were the way they were when. His hand came down the rest of my knee. Why don't we take a break for lunch? It is around that time. I could have something delivered if you like. Sure, sounds good to me. Should I pay you back? No need, it's my treat. Now, what are you in the mood for, And Brennan ordered from a Macallan takeout place nearby. It usually took them only 10 or 15 minutes to deliver, according to the bison, so it had some time to rest our brains. And what better way than with some television? I sat on one corner of the couch, sipping the last of my drink. Brendan, meanwhile, turned on the large flat screen on the opposite wall and began flipping through the channels. News, talk show, a documentary on the meatpacking industry. Let's try streaming. Yeah. He switched over, and as soon as the home screen came up, his eyes started to glimmer. How about an episode or two of Valley of the Vanish? I know it's kind of old, really old, but we could see if it's up your alley at least. Sure, I'll be up for that. Right. He's got all 3 seasons too, so we can start with the first episode. Then we just get set up. Brennan wasn't kidding. From the opening song that spelled out the basic plot to adding to some of the special effects, there was a lot that could be called old, maybe even a little outdated. But honestly, it had a good amount of charm to it, and from the first scene of the main characters, a family of foxes interacting with and then being chased by a dinosaur, I have to admit I was hooked. Again, the effects weren't the best. The Tyrannosaur was almost insulting, but that was the best understanding of what they looked like people had at the time. And Brendan had to pause about halfway through to answer the door when our food arrived. But after the end credits rolled, I asked if Brendan would want to put on the next episode between bites of sauce coated pork. And after swallowing his own mouthful of veggie fried rice, the bison gave me a beaming grin while doing so. We both finished our lunch. About halfway through the second episode, Brendan took the time to gather up and toss our trash, and then we settled for the third one. Just the two of us watching a show together, laughing and commenting on it together, enjoying the day together. When the end credits began to roll over the one once more, Brennan flipped his tail and grunted. His leg had started bouncing a few minutes before. He hadn't noticed, but hadn't commented. They wanted to speak up during the good part. You okay? Oh. He set a hand upon his knee and let out a quiet laugh, shifted in his seat, then looked over at me, flicked his ear where I glanced away. Didn't mind we paused for a bathroom break. Oh, sure, no problem, go ahead. My eyes followed the motion of him setting the remote down on the couch between us. Want me to get the next one out? Want me to get the next one set up while you're gone? Sure, I said this will only be a few minutes. And grunt as he got to his feet, that smile thrown my way as he trotted towards a hallway leading deeper into the house. Back in a jiffy. Alright. He made his way out. I settled into my seat. The remote control was simple enough to figure out. I was able to get the next episode ready for Brendan's return in no time at all. Satisfied with a job well done, I finished off my drink with a victorious sip. I started tapping my foot on the carpeted floor, leaning back against the back of the couch. I started humming a bit, the Valley of the Venice opening, that song playing in the car earlier when Camilla had saw me a while back. Brendan was taking a lot longer than just a few minutes. At first glance, Brendan's living room didn't look too much different from the one at Dr. Abraham's house. Comfy couch, a coffee table, a large TV on one wall, and a carpeted floor. Simple and basic, just like what Camilla's family had at their house too. Much like the Carpenter's living room, there were things scattered here and there, which made it feel more personalized, I guess. Lived in, as Dr. Abraham would say. I took a closer look at. One or two set, and the end tables by the side of the couch and more were hanging on the walls of the living room. All of them featuring Brendan and Cameron, either alone or together. The pair of a nature height, Cameron beaming as he stood by his dad's side, would look like a more professional portrait of the younger son. Brendan standing together with a few other student animals, recognized a bear who was shaking the bison's hand as a university student. All of them looked pretty recent. The Cameron in all the photos couldn't have been less than a year younger than when I met him the day before. In every one of his pictures, Brendan had those distinguished hints of gray in his fur and those bags under his eyes. I also couldn't see any hint of Cameron's mom anywhere. Well, Brendan had told me that he used to be married but was single now. If something had happened, I suppose it would only make sense for him. Either way, it probably wasn't any of my business. Three foxes, two males, and one younger female in the foreground with various other animals all around them. Some strange-looking dinosaurs. A saber-toothed cat. Even a pair of weird bug-eyed reptilian alien things. And off in the background, a gigantic lush-looking valley. It caught my eye when Brendan had first led me in, but I hadn't given it too much thought. Otherwise, now I could recognize it from what it was, a promo poster for Valley of the Venice. I guess Brendan really was a big fan. Though I couldn't blame him, honestly. It really was pretty good if it did so its ages and places, and even if he even it was really inaccurate. At first glance, the knickknacks here and there on them put on display to decorate the space looked pretty normal, kind of like the ones I'd seen at Connor's uncle's house back when he was working at the lab complex. Not really fancy or anything like that, just meant to fill in the space. A collection of empty glasses in neat rows. A framed picture with a few small signatures in the bottom left corner. A statuette of some kind. But when I got up to take a closer look, I could see a running theme. Each of the glasses had a happy-looking cartoonist character on it, along with what I could only guess were the names and their mugwalks in stylized font. The photograph was of a group of animals all together on a banner with the mugwalks above and behind them. A cat's photo, maybe. And for the statuette, it resembled one of the characters would kind of like a brontosaurus if they had been purple and particularly round. So that was that other soul Brennan had missing, huh? Connor would probably call him a nerd for keeping so much merchandise from some of his favorite series around, even put it on display, but it wasn't like the booster had any room to talk. And it'd take 2 months longer after that for the bison to make his reappearance. Sorry to keep you waiting. Things took a little bit longer than I thought they would. It's fine, I know how it is. He grunted in response to that, and then lets out a tiny chuckle. Oh, you didn't get too bored out here. I had plenty to keep myself occupied with. I just was a valley of the Venus poster above the couch. Been admiring the artwork while you were gone. He let out a sleepless laugh at that. Yes, well, what can I say? There's just something about that old aesthetic that I really like. It's nostalgic, you know? Plus, it's a really good show. Hey, don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining at all. I think it looks good. Honestly, well, this is kind of stupid, but let out a tiny embarrassed chuckle of my own. I mean, I've never been to like a movie theater before, so having the poster up there while we were watching the show is just kind of, like. Well then, I'm glad to be able to give you that kind of experience. Maybe sometime soon you can come with Cam and me to an actual movie theater. I like that, yeah. I'm pretty sure my question was playing on my face when I glanced over to the cell surrounding the TV. The Mugwalks, huh? Oh, yes, well. Jill flirted a few times. It's been a really big part of pop culture for a really long time now. I'm not judging at all. And well, I haven't really been connected to pop culture, so the Bryson looked at me with an expression on his face like Camille would always have around Zabat Etalat. Will you be interested in watching an episode or two? Yeah, I think I would. You want to help me get caught up on the things I've been missing? Love to. Brennan cleared his throat. So, one more episode, then back to studying. I pulled my phone out to check the time. Yeah, that would probably be best. It is getting kind of late. It would be better to get it all done now and not have to worry about it later, right? Well, I'll leave you to tomorrow, what you can do today, He nodded in approval. I felt a tiny flutter in my stomach and my own lips perking upward in return. I commend your diligence. I think it's getting to be about time to think about dinner soon. As a matter of fact, do you need to head home or? Then I glanced at my phone. There weren't any messages from Dr. Abraham. I could probably get away with a few more hours. If you'd like me to stay, I could. His smile was more than answer enough. We took our seats, getting ourselves comfortable once more. Then Brennan allowed me to do the honors of starting up the episode. Once again, I could just relax and enjoy the time spent with Brennan. The companionable silence between the two of us, the comforting warmth of his presence. Only the occasional step to reposition repositioned myself, or the occasional flick of his ears or tail. Then I would just get lost in the drama and events were playing out on the screen. Another self, another bit of repositioning, and then both of us grunted in surprise at the contact our eyes met. His ears flipped, his shoulders tense. Neither of us pulled away. And sorry, it's alright. I could see hesitation creeping into his eyes as he looked down at me and paid attention in his own limbs and jaw. He cleared his throat. We like to, He moved his arm up, resting it on the back of the couch behind me. An invitation? Yeah. His soft, cushy, firm bulk against my side, his heavy arm surprisingly muscular around my shoulders, his scent tingling in my nose with every slow, deep breath I took. Hands resisted the urge to pinch myself to make sure I wasn't dreaming. We stayed like that throughout the rest of the episode, just enjoyed the contact, the proximity. Even when the end credits finished rolling and the screen switched back over to the main menu, neither of us pulled away. Hey, Brennan? Yes, Rex? Really like this. I never really felt, normal with my circumstances and all. It's nice to just forget about that and hang out with you and just be, So, thanks. You're welcome. I'm glad to help, and I'm really glad you like this. I like you, Brendan. Rex. I like you too. It was a little later on, just a bit too late to still be cold the afternoon when we started getting hungry again. And again, delivery was the easiest option. What would be better for a weekend evening, staying in and hanging out together than a nice hot pizza. According to Brendan, there was a really good place for that nearby as well. They even did half and half specialties in the size of omnivore, or for a carnivore and herbivore pair who were spending the day together, as the case may be. We called in the order, and then we settled in to wait for it to arrive. Can I get you a drink to go along with it? Sure, may as well. I'll just have water. Of course. You see you don't want anything else? Yeah, I'm sure. Caffeine kind of doesn't agree with me. Fair enough. Going right up. The boxer hauled himself up off the couch with a grunt, giving me a small smile before heading into the kitchen. Meanwhile, I got yet another episode of Valley and the Venice queued up. We'd already got a pretty good study session in. I was pretty sure I'd be well prepared for my classes over the coming week. What better way to relax and give ourselves a little treat as a reward? I looked up when Brendan returned, reaching out to accept the glass of water he was handing over to me. What's that? Brendan blinked, followed by my gaze down to the glass in his other hand, lifted it up and swirled the dark amber liquid inside around a few times. Oh, whiskey. He popped back down onto the couch, then took a long, slow sip. I leaned in a bit closer, my brow furrowing, when I caught a whiff of the woody sweet smell wafting from his glass. Is it good? Oh yes, very good. It is alcoholic though, so you shouldn't be having any. Wasn't thinking of it, I was just curious. He took another sip, swallowing down a good third of it in one gulp. Then the bison grinned, slung an arm around my shoulders and gestured towards the TV. Go ahead and start it up. Pizza should be here in about 20 minutes, so you should be able to get through a good bit of it. Alright then, and there he asked, leaning against his bulk all the while enjoying his arm around me. Sipping on my own drink as we settled in together once more. Bison started getting a lot more relaxed as the whiskey started hitting him, more so than I'd ever seen him, even when he was alone. Sat against the back of the couch, leaning a bit of his way onto me, his eyes pointing at the TV even as his hand needed my side, making a few comments on the special effects, how they used a bit of stop motion on the dinosaurs or models from the faraway shots, and getting a bit giggly over the dialogue. At last, the doorbell rang. I think that's the delivery guy. Brennan? Oh, right, yeah, I get it. Again, he held himself to his feet. For a moment, he stumbled, having to catch himself on the arm of the couch. Then he guzzled the last of his whiskey, set his glass down on the end table, and made his way to the front door. I paused or so, waiting for him to return. Hey, thanks a lot. No problem, Mr. Baker. Let me see. Tip. Oh, here you go. Are you sure? That's kinda... Sure, I'm sure. You have a good night, alright? Thanks. You too. When I shut the door, I looked up from checking my phone as the bison returned, pizza box in hand and a triumphant grin on his face. Alright, let me just set this here on the coffee table and go get a few plates so we can dig in. You need a refill on your drink? Nah, I think I'm good for now. Okay, well, I do, so let me grab that as well. Back in a jiffy. He turned off before he could respond. The sounds of a cabinet opening and clanking dishware, another cabinet opening, then both of them being not shut once more. Brennan has his hands full when he came back out of the kitchen, a pair of plates stacked together in one, and a large bottle half full of amber brown liquid in the other. Here you go. One plate was handed off to me, the other was set down next to the pizza box. The bottle was opened, a generous amount of whiskey was poured into Brennan's glass, and then it was set down on the end table at the box's elbow. Brennan, I know you're having it with the pizza, but should you be drinking that much? He snorted in response and gave me a quicker smile. Hey now, who's supposed to be the responsible adult between the two of us? His hand landed on my shoulder, giving me a light jostle. Don't you worry, alright? I'm a big boy. Another snorting laugh, he adjusted down to his burly body with the hand holding his glass. For just a second, I was sure some of his whiskey was going to spill over the side when Brennan jerked it back upright just in time. I can handle a good amount of alcohol, more than I got in this little thing here, that's for damn sure. Okay then. That's what, unpause the TV. We have a couple slices of pizza for myself and dug in. Glancing over the bison every so often. Brennan took a bite of his own pizza slice, and he washed it down with a long sip of his whiskey. He took another bite, and then another sip, another few bites, and then he finished off his glass, reached for the bottle and refilled it. Another slice, a few sips, gulp, really another refill. I finished off my half of the pizza. Now I wanted to leave leftovers that Brennan or Cameron would probably just have to throw out of their hands. Brennan, I think I could use that refill you offer now. He blinked at me for a few moments before responding. Sorry, what was that? I was asking if I could get a refill. Oh yes, sir. Give me a lemon. Let me get that for some of his words, and then turning off at the end of his sentence, his gaze wandering away from me, going unfocused. When he started to push himself up from the couch, the bison had to make a grab for his plate to stop it from tumbling off his thigh to the floor. God damn it. It was over to help him take his plate and setting it down next to the pizza box. I can get it, it's fine. There's sure no trouble. I made a few more attempts to help himself up off the couch, but couldn't seem to get his legs under himself properly. Yeah, I'm sure. Should I just get it out of the tap or? Nah, there's a dispenser on the refrigerator door. Got it. I'll be back in a jiffy, okay? Give him a smile as I got to my feet, then a pat on the shoulder to get him back down on the couch. Just as I made it to the doorway into the kitchen, I heard the sound of a bottle cap being unscrewed. Brennan was pouring himself another glass of whiskey. Hey, want me to get you some water too? I think you've had enough. Brendan answered with a snort, sober this time. Told you it's fine. And handle myself just fine. Take more of this to knock me down, you know? The boxer lifted his glass in my general direction, a wide and somewhat lopsided grin on his face, then down half of it in a single gulp. Okay. Like Brendan had said, there was a water and ice dispenser set into the door of the refrigerator. It couldn't have taken me more than a minute to fill my own glass with both. The buttons weren't really responsive, so I had to try a few times to switch over to the ice outside and then back to water. But when I returned to the living room, Brendan was fully sunk back with his eyes closed. Brendan? I made my way over, setting my glass of water down, and stood the bison by the soda. Brendan? A snort, and then some nonsensical mumbling. His brow twitched, his eyes flicked around behind his shut eyelids. He was asleep. Shit. What was I supposed to do? The TV was still on with an episode of Valley of the Vanis paused. My place was still sitting on the coffee table along with an open box of half-eaten pizza, and Brendan had completely passed out. I shifted from foot to foot, sipped on my water, took a deep breath in, and then let it out slowly. All I could really think to do was to gather up the dishes and put them in the sink. The plates were easy enough to stack up, but Brendan was still gripping his glass as it rested on his arm on the couch. I had to be careful prying his fingers from around it to avoid spilling what was left of the bison's whiskey. That was when the front door opened. Hey there, I'm home. Cameron? When the younger bison stepped into the living room, three things happened in quick succession. First, he saw me in the middle of cleaning up the mess Brendan and I had made. Oh, hey, Rex. What's going on? Second, he caught a whiff of the woody, sweet smell of whiskey hanging in the air and wrinkled his nose. Third, he saw the older bison pass out on the couch. Damn it, Dad. His expression crumpled, shoulders sagging with a heavy sigh. Cameron took a moment to set down the bag slung over his shoulder and then made his way over to his father's side. Picked up the whiskey bottle, laying out another side, they saw how little was left in it. Seriously, tonight? The words caught in my throat when he looked over at me. He was helping me study. We took a break to watch some TV, and I gestured at the pizza box, and then he started drinking, and just as I trailed off, Cameron nodded. Yeah, he does that. Yeah, help me get him lying down. Oh, sure. Limbs still a little stiff, feeling the tension in my jaw and shoulder blades, I moved to help Cameron reposition Brendan on the couch, lying on his side, the throw pillow tugged out from underneath him and set under his head. The younger bison grabbed the blanket off the back of the couch, unfolded it, and laid it over the snoring, mumbling older one. Does he do this often? Cameron bit his lip, hesitating, then nodded. I mean, not every night, but it happens. You go ahead and put those in the sink. I'll do them later. He gestured to the plates and glasses in my hands. Right, on it. As I moved to get that done, Cameron picked up the pizza box. Is there any left? Yeah, there should be. We got a half and half and Brent. Your dad only had a slice or two, so cool. Cameron's ear flipped in my direction while he munched on a still warm slice of pizza right out of the box. He said this doesn't happen every night, but is this normal for him? He blinked, then turned to stare at me. You really don't know, do you? I thought everyone had figured it out. Dad's an alcoholic. Cass was matter of fact, thrown out with little more than a swag and another flick of his ear. It's not like a big problem most of the time. I mean, like I said, it's not every day that he inclines towards an older bison. It mostly just happens when he gets overwhelmed with stuff. he just starts and can't stop himself. Overwhelmed? Had I overwhelmed him? Fuck. And we were gonna watch the amazing plant premiere tonight. Tight squeeze on my throat and the stiffness of my jaw made it difficult to speak, but I managed. Is he gonna be alright? He'll probably have a splitting headache tomorrow morning, but other than that, he'll be fine. Good. That's good. That he'll be fine. And are you gonna be alright? Honestly, couldn't tell whether there was a smile on his face or a grimace at first, but his response sounded pretty jovial, almost too much so. Yeah, I'll be fine too. Whenever Dad gets like this, he just drinks until he passes out. So it's not like the young bison's tail lasts behind him. I can take care of things while he sleeps it off. Okay. More shifting from foot to foot, a tension in my jaw, and sort of only getting more unbearable as the seconds passed. In that case, I guess I'll just go. Yeah, alright. Cameron nodded, giving me another small smile. It was easy to see how forced it was. Alright, can you tell your dad I'm sorry for leaving while he was out when he wakes up? Will do. Good night. Yeah, good night. There didn't seem to be anything else I could say, anything else I could do. So I grabbed my bag and left, giving Cameron a brief, awkward wave before shutting the front door behind me. Knowing I realized a chance to take a walk in the cool evening air, to just let the steady rhythm of my steps and my breathing, deep in, slow out, take over. Having a chance to not think so much for just a little while. As I started the long trek back to the lab complex, the weight of what had happened, what the next day would probably bring, bogged down my every step. The day had started all so nice. It had been great to hang out with Brendan for such a long time. Having him help me with my studies, relaxing and watching TV with him, and my feelings for him out in the open. How had things suddenly gone so wrong? Hello. It's a public built the SD 6 to Brendan's route and caps off Arc 1 for his route. Brendan invited Wes to his house and to help him study, and they decided to relax by watching TV and eating food, but then Brendan got drunk and passed out, revealing that he's an alcoholic. So how did you enjoy this day? I'm glad you're a fan. I enjoyed this game so much. I loved it. If you rate this game on itch.io for us, just click on the link. Just click on the itch.io page in the top right corner and rate the game. What do you think of Brendan now? And quite frankly, I think I like him even better now. I mean, certainly him getting drunk is not a good thing. It's not good at all, but it's so that there's a lot more to him than just what we see him like, what we see him at the university, and the fact that there's more to him than just him being a professor and what you see at the university. He has a life too, and there are things he likes also. Like he likes a lot of rock and punk rock music from, well, not punk, but a lot of rock and heavy metal music from the 80s, like super from the 80s. Well, I did not expect from Brendan. Wes didn't expect that either. And about him getting drunk, I don't know if the reason for him being drunk is because of the divorce, or I don't know. It's because he's always been an alcoholic and that his wife divorced him for it, or if him being an alcoholic is a reaction to the divorce. That's just his way of coping with the divorce. But anyway, just a lot more to Brennan now than just being a college professor. There are things he likes, and he has his problems also. So I gotta say, I don't know if this is the right choice, but I'm gonna say I like him even better. Well, wouldn't expect that considering what's revealed to him. That sorts do a lot to a guy. What the others say? I'll just say I still like him a lot. I still like him a lot. But it certainly made him until there's certainly more to him now than before. I mean, I don't excuse him being an alcoholic, but I like him more in the sense that he has issues also, and that he has things on his mind that is troubling him, but that I think has something to do with his divorce. But anyway, that probably was the wrong decision to make. I like him even better now, but hey, I'm just gonna say I still like him a lot. Can't get enough those daddy milkers, can you? You choose a lot of lustful choices. Certain scenes will change drastically. So read those scenes if you want more of Brennan's route. If you haven't already, try getting as close to Owen as possible while doing Brennan's route. You might have to make a few different choices on day one. Also, there are certain choices that might appear which allow Owen to get more involved in Brennan's route. Try experimenting to get access to those scenes. You become impatient by clicking on the button above and get access to Camille's Day 2 and other neat benefits I'm too lazy to mention. This build was a bit weird to develop. Me and Nemo were on our own little trip, so there were periods where we simply couldn't work on the game even if we wanted to. I also started this semester this month, so I had that to deal with as well. I wanted to work on other stuff in the game besides Camille's Day 2. I ended up having to spend most of the month completing sprites for a lot of characters. Not to mention the pain that was getting every sprite on the screen all at once. I don't want to spoil anything, but I often think about how people react to what's more updates drop and we see more of his story. But I'm confident that you guys will enjoy what Nemo and I have to offer. A lot of the assets that I needed to code into the game ended up taking longer than I expected, so I had to rush through getting everything done. I am worried that the next build will be a lot of pain to work on due to having to add outfits for the entire team on top of creating several CGs. We'll figure it out though, don't worry too much about us. Anyways, I also want to show you a piece of fan art done by Senwan. Here it is. If you have any fan art you want me to sell in this game, please let me know either through itch.io, Discord, or whatever. That's everything. Thank you for sticking with me and have a good day. See you later. So I think either the reason why Brennan is an alcoholic is either because of him having a history of being an alcoholic made his wife divorce him, or maybe because the reason why he was an alcoholic is because of the divorce, and that he's just coping with it. He's just coping with the divorce by drinking. drinking whiskey. So he certainly drank a lot of whiskey. Like he certainly drank a whole lot of whiskey, and something is weighing him down. And it's not fully well. And his son doesn't seem to be too bothered by his father. Well, I think he is bothered by his father being alcoholic, but I don't think he's too bothered in the fact that he's not violent. He's not like a violent drunk. Like whenever he sees his dad getting drunk, he just keeps drinking whiskey, and then he keep on drinking till he falls asleep. So Wex had concern for his son because he might have thought that Brendan might have done something violent due to him being drunk, but his son doesn't seem to be worried about that all that much. So I think he's just the type of drunk that just keep on drinking until he passes out or falls asleep. So his son didn't seem too worried, but he was not happy when he saw his father being drunk with Wex there. So that ends arc 1 for Brendan. In the next update, we'll begin Camille's route. I think it's day 2 of Camille's route. And really happy that we're about to go into Camille's route now. He's one I've been looking the most forward to so far. I think his route will be more focused on the mystery surrounding Tucker. Because both Camille and Tucker were very close, and Camille credits Tucker for having him on the team. So he very much misses Tucker, and Wyatt certainly does as well. He's taken the worst from it. So we'll see the beginning of Camille's route next time, day 2 for Camille, and we're done with arc 1 for Brendan. So all the information for the games is in the description box below. Thank you all very much for watching. Goodbye.